Last time on the Skip and Josh podcast.
I couldn't stand listening to him on Monday night. The number of times that he said, these two MVP candidates, teams loaded with young stars, an epic battle, an instant classic. He told us like 16 times that we were watching an instant classic. You know what, Joe? We know. We're watching it. I'm aware of what I'm watching.
You're listening to the Skip and Josh podcast with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
I'm Josh in Toronto.
And I'm Skip in Montreal.
In today's episode, we discuss NHL expansion,
MLB hot stove,
and reminisce about the Montreal Expos.
But first, let's start with the National Football League.
Okay, Skip, it's been a really long time since the last time we spoke, and we have a lot of things to catch up on. But before we get started with sports stuff, is it okay if I talk about something that has nothing to do with sports?
I encourage that.
Okay.
It's just great to be talking to you. We haven't recorded. We skipped an episode, so I'm so happy we're back on track.
I know it's probably going to decrease the number of listeners because they're like, what's going on? Where's the episode? Where's the show? Derek won't be able to do his ironing.
So what's bothering you?
Well, actually, no, nothing's bothering me. I did have lunch with Derek since the last time you and I spoke.
Oh,
so
yeah, you texted me about that.
He's in Toronto quite often, so it was nice to see him. So I've said this to you many times, but not on any of our shows. Mm-hmm. I listen to other sports shows, whether it's radio or podcast or whatever. Yeah. And, obviously I'm saying this and maybe it's a biased opinion, but I think that our show is just as good, if not better, than all these other shows that get millions of viewers and listeners.
Well, we have to keep telling ourselves that.
No, but the thing is, I listen to the other shows and these people aren't any smarter than you and I.
This is correct.
And all they do is they tell their opinion on things, which we give our opinion on things. And right. Look, we can talk about, an upcoming game and I can say that the Chiefs are going to win or the Chiefs are going to lose or whatever it is. Yeah. And I could be right or I could be wrong, and same with you. But all these other so-called experts who do the same thing, they're not always right either.
Of course.
So just because we're wrong sometimes doesn't mean our show is any less than their show.
But we're right a lot.
I think we are right quite a bit.
Did you want to start with NFL? Because I have an example of that.
The National Football League.
Sure, let's start with NFL because I really have no clue what I want to start with.
So 2 episodes ago, I told you that Mike McCarthy of the Packers, would be fired the day after the season. And you were like, you weren't so sure. And then lo and behold, the Packers made actually a shocking move. They fired him the day after a game, which is kind of like, it felt like an emotional firing. Like a lot of times the coaches know they're going to get fired the day after or the week after the season ends. And here was like Monday morning. Here comes the announcement from the Packers. Mike McCarthy's fired.
I think it actually happened on Sunday night.
I think so too.
They didn't wait till Monday morning. They let him do his post-game press conference after the game. And then I think he was fired an hour after that.
I've mentioned this before. Like it's one of the most not shocking firings, because obviously I told you he was going to be fired, but the timing of the firing was like really shocking. I was really surprised how it went down,
They lost a home game to Arizona. You should never lose a home game to Arizona, especially if your home games are in Green Bay where it's freezing and snowing.
Yeah. They've lost a lot of games this year. Their record's bad, obviously. And they've lost a lot of games where you feel like, how did they lose that game? Why did they lose that game? It seemed like they're like these 50-50 games that could kind of go either way, and they just don't come out on top. But it reminds me of, like, remember I told you, like, it was 3 seasons ago. It was Chip Kelly's final season on the Eagles. And I told you, I thought he was going to get fired. It's never happened. Obviously, it's never happened. It probably never will happen. I felt like he was going to get fired during a game that year. Chip Kelly. It was the Thanksgiving Day game and the Eagles were getting killed. And I was like, they got to fire him right now at halftime. Like, just let him go and say, leave, please. We don't need you anymore. Well, so this is as close as we've come to a coach being fired. Like, literally, like, game's over, you're gone,
Yes. I've heard in college football, I think it was Lane Kiffin that got fired while I think they were on the plane on the way back home from wherever their game was.
Wow, that's amazing, right?
I don't know if it was on the plane or either just before he got on the plane or just after he got off the plane, but it was one of those three scenarios.
Right.
But then, yes, then there was this, as you said. But, in defense of Mike McCarthy, I'm not saying that they should have fired him or should not have fired him.
Yeah.
That game, the last game that they lost, was not even his fault. It was Mason Crosby's fault. And you can go back about a month or two when there was another game that they lost because of Mason Crosby. So if your kicker can't kick, what is a routine NFL kick, how is that the coach's fault?
You're right. And the intriguing thing about the Mike McCarthy stuff is because there's been so much rumors that like him and Aaron Rodgers don't get along, and then it's like the two don't fit together anymore. And then, of course, the day after he was fired, Aaron Rodgers said, "I hope it's not my fault," and he kind of came out in defense of Mike McCarthy. But I mean, I fully believe that it's like Aaron Rodgers got him fired. I fully believe that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've heard all the stories, like they don't agree on play calling, and Mike McCarthy was maybe too conservative, and you've had arguably one of, if not one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the NFL for the last decade on your roster, and you've won 1 Super Bowl. Now,
and that was a while ago.
Right. Now, having Aaron Rodgers on your team doesn't guarantee you winning Super Bowls, but you would think that they'd have a better record than that having Aaron Rodgers on your team.
Yeah. I think it's just the way the season's gone. They had expectations. They thought we're going to win the division. The division's up for grabs. We're going to be in the playoffs, and now they're just at the bottom, and their season's essentially over. So I just, for me, the timing of the move was the most interesting part of the whole thing. Whether who replaces him, who doesn't replace him, does Mike McCarthy work again? I don't care about any of that stuff, to be honest. So have you been following Lee? I mean, look, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded. We never even, I mean, maybe this is old news already, and it is old news. Like, do you even want to talk about Kareem Hunt or?
Sure, I'll talk about it. I mean, I wasn't expecting to, so I have nothing prepared, but, I mean, what can you say? There was video of it. So, I mean, it's not like there's any question of what happened. Yeah. In fact, I think other stuff happened that they didn't capture on video that you can't see.
You're sure.
Obviously, I mean, if I was the Kansas City Chiefs, I would have done the same thing and released him immediately. But from what I understand, the Chiefs knew something happened because this happened, 9 months ago, I think.
Right.
And they knew something happened 9 months ago. They just hadn't seen the video.
They said they asked him, from what I read, they said they asked him about it right after it happened. And he said, "Oh, this is nothing." And then they said, "Okay, it's nothing." And that was it.
That's not really much of an investigation. But
no, it's not.
So, it amazes me every time something like this happens, how dumb these athletes are.
Right.
Like in this day and age, how do you not realize that this is something that is a bad idea?
Especially in a hotel. Like, how come all this stuff happens in hotels where there's cameras everywhere?
Well, nothing good ever happens in a hotel.
That's true, actually. But it's just like they're not smart. They're just not smart. They're not. I mean, obviously, he's not a good person. Like look what he did. He basically kicked a woman when she was on the ground,
mm-hmm.
and he's just not showing. It's just sheer stupidity. Do you think he'll come back into the league at some point?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Oh yeah, because all they care about in the NFL is can you play?
Yeah,
and he
but
can
also
play.
Everybody likes like a redemption story. Like he's gonna. All will be forgiven, and he's going to be reformed, and he's going to say, "I made a mistake," and then someone will welcome him.
I mean, Michael Vick came back to play again, and granted, that wasn't a human; it was a dog, but still.
Yeah.
And then who's the guy that the Dallas Cowboys signed? I forget his name. After he was convicted of something,
he's in MMA now. I forget his name.
So he'll come back because also Kareem Hunt isn't exactly old yet, and so he still has.
He was a rookie last year.
Yeah, he still has I was going to say still has a long career ahead of him. I'm not going to go that far, but yes, I do think he'll be back in the league.
Pretty gutsy though by the Chiefs though, don't you think? Like they're Super Bowl contenders and now they released one of their best guys.
Except why did they wait till now? Because
they waited till now because TMZ paid someone for the video.
So you're telling me that they didn't see the video until I did, like, or maybe they saw it an hour before?
That's what they say. So either they didn't see the video till all of us did, or they did and they just chose not to do anything.
Right.
We don't know.
Right. And what about speaking of questionable characters in the NFL for 200, Alex?
This is Jeopardy!
There was a guy that was released, and then the Redskins signed him, Reuben Foster. Yeah, the Niners. The Niners released this guy because apparently he hit his girlfriend. And then 24 hours later, the Redskins signed him. What are the Redskins thinking?
Well, the Redskins are a joke, honestly.
No, but I mean,
it's a joke.
I get that they're a joke on the field. I get that.
Yeah.
But
no, they're a joke of the organization.
There's nobody in that organization that said, wait a minute, this is not a good idea. We shouldn't sign him.
It's so stupid, honestly. It shows such poor judgment by the Redskins and poor, like, reading the tea leaves, so to speak. Like, you don't realize that there's going to be a backlash by doing this. I mean, he hasn't played and he may not play, but the fact is they did pick him up.
Now, in fairness to Reuben Foster, and I'm not trying to defend him, apparently this same girl made a same accusation about a year ago and then afterwards said, oh no, I made that up. I just wanted to get money. He actually didn't do anything to me.
But
so
then
now
she had another statement where she said, oh, he really did do all that stuff, but I said he didn't do it because I still love him.
So, in other words, it's hard to know what's fact and what's fiction in this situation.
Oh, of course.
I'm not saying that she's making it up, and I'm not saying that it's completely true either, but you and I will never know.
No, we'll never know. Who knows what's going to happen with this guy? I don't know. And Kareem Hunt, it's just... The NFL's a bit of a joke when it comes to they are a joke when it comes to all this stuff, right? The fact of the matter that anybody could still pick up Kareem Hunt, that he's available. Like, the NFL didn't suspend him; it's the Chiefs, right? The NFL just doesn't want to get involved.
The Chiefs cut him.
But someone else could pick him up. He's not suspended by the league.
I think he is on the suspended list, but
he's
somebody
on the commissioner's exempt list, means like he's still getting paid.
Right. Yes. And another team can pick him up, actually. I mean, they can't play him.
To me,
the
NFL is so scared. They're so scared to, like, do anything after, like, the Ray Rice and all the other things that they botched, that they don't even want to do anything now. They're just going to leave it to the teams and say, like, oh, look, it's the team's responsibility. We're not going to do anything.
And you know what I said a year ago and 2 years ago and 3 years ago? It's not the league's responsibility. It's not the team's responsibility. Yeah. It's the law. Like, the legal authorities need to do something.
Right. If he's found guilty and he goes to jail, then you cut him. If he's let him have his day in court, right?
Yeah. I mean, forget about whether he's allowed to play football ever again or not. Like, should he be prosecuted by the law? That's my question.
But the difference is, in this case, there's this video, and we've seen what he's done.
So that should be an open and shut case. I know there's no such thing as an open and shut case. It should be.
But the Chiefs are basically like, we don't want this guy on our team. We saw what he did,
So there was one other NFL thing that I wanted to talk about, and that is, I think it was in week 13, the Jaguars beat the Colts 6-0.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, in 2018 in the NFL with all these crazy high scores, how do you get a final score of 6-0? That should be the score maybe in the first quarter of the game.
It's a very, very difficult season to, like, get a handle on, because just when you think there's no more defense in the league, then there's this 6-0 game. And don't forget, the Colts, just like the week or two before, scored 1 million points, and Andrew Luck was, like, unstoppable, and they threw for 1 million. He threw for like 4 or 5 touchdowns in the same game. I know, because I played against him in fantasy, and he got like 60 points or something.
He lit you up.
So, like, they're putting up, like, all kinds of points, and then the week after they can't score at all. Now, I know the Jaguars' defense is pretty good, but they haven't been that good this year. Like, the Jaguars suck, right, as a team. So, I just can't handicap anything anymore.
Didn't the Jaguars just get lit up by Derrick Henry 2 nights ago?
They did, yeah. He killed them, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. I haven't heard that name in years.
So I'm in the car yesterday, driving my son just to the bus, because it's complicated for him to get to school. So I take him, like, to one bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, does anybody have Derrick Henry in your fantasy? And he looks at me and he's like, he's not happy. And he's like, I had him on my bench. I said, oh, that sucks. He goes, to make matters worse, I had Leonard Fournette and I used him instead. And he only got 6 points.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, but yes, I don't know how. So that 6-0 game. So I don't understand how Jacksonville, as bad as their offense may be, to only get 6 points. I don't get that. And then even worse, how does a team get shut out in the NFL? Like a shutout in the NFL, it's unheard of.
Especially when there's teams scoring 50 points a game.
Yeah, and Indianapolis, as you said, Andrew Luck had won like 5 straight games or something like that. He'd been hot lately up until that game.
Yeah.
You know, I get that Jacksonville is supposed to be, like you said, one of the better defensive teams in the league, but they haven't been this year.
Not at all.
And to lose 6-0, it didn't make any sense to me. I was stunned by that.
I can't figure out anything in it this year in the NFL. Just when you think you know what's going on, you know, Cowboys are 3-5. You think they're down and out. Now they're the favorite to win the division. You know, there's tons of stories like this. You know, the Tennessee Titans beat the Patriots, and then the next week they get killed, and like there's no rhyme or reason to anything that goes on. The Saints scored scoring like 40 points every week, and then all of a sudden they can't beat the Cowboys. You know, at home. You know, so like the whole thing was whack. The whole season's like a roller coaster.
And that is why I'm close to last place in my football pool.
Yeah, because you can't figure anything out.
Right.
You might as well just do it random.
Although there are 79 people ahead of me who apparently can figure things out. But so what I've done, just to let you know, in this pool, if you finish dead last, you get your money back.
Oh, so you're trying to tank. There's a tanking option.
I'm trying to tank, but the thing is, it's against the spread. So it's not that easy to tank. It's not like you could just pick all the bad teams because they might cover the spread.
The spread is the great equalizer either way.
Right. So anyway, I made all these picks, like hoping to get them all wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see how I end up doing in the end.
You'll probably have your best week ever.
I might. But the funny part is, if I actually do get them all wrong, that means all I had to do was pick the opposite, and I would have got them all right.
You're playing head games with yourself.
Exactly.
No good could come of that. No good could come of that at all.
Anyhow.
It reminds me, last year we talked about the New York Jets. We're like, they should be tanking. They should be trying to lose every game. And then somehow they're winning games, right? Mm-hmm. And their fans are like, what are you guys doing? We want the first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got for NFL, other than looking ahead to Sunday's games, which there are not.
There's only one good game.
No, I think 2.
Okay. Which 2?
Well, the Eagles-Cowboys.
Oh, that's not even a good game.
It's only a good game for me.
For you it is. But you know what? I have to tell you about the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yes, they're in the hunt.
Yeah,
but
they're not good.
They actually have not beaten anyone good. So all their wins that they have, I don't care about any of those wins. They haven't beaten any good teams. The Cowboys, I'm stunned. They've won 4 in a row, but they've actually beaten some good teams.
Yeah, well,
and if I'm not mistaken, the game is in Dallas, right?
It is, yes.
It's going to be an uphill battle for the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. So the other good game this week is the, where is it? The Bears, right? The Rams and the Bears.
Yeah, that's the game I was going to say. That's the best game of the week.
That's the Sunday night game now?
As it should be.
Yeah. I don't know if it was originally. At this point in the season, I think...
no, they flexed it in.
They flexed it in, right?
Yes.
Should be good. This is like... You know, there's a lot of Bears fans out there. We know a few, Costa and Chicago, who, and I mean, I have actual people that I work with in Chicago that are Bears fans, and they're like, they want to love their team and they want to get behind the team, and they are getting behind the team, but they're like, something's telling them like, I don't know how good they are. We're winning games, but I don't know how good we are. There's like this doubt, and a lot of it is about the quarterback. So this is kind of a little bit of a test for the Bears. We're going to really see how they stack up, especially going against a team like the Rams.
This game to me is a very hard game to pick. I'm never mind against the spread, just who's going to win the game, because normally on a neutral field, like if this were the Super Bowl, I'd pick the Rams.
Yeah.
But it's in Chicago. It's going to be cold, especially because it's a night game. Yeah. So the Rams have to travel, and they're used to playing in nicer weather. Yeah. And the Bears, they need a win really badly because they lost last week. So they might not necessarily win their division, although everyone else in their division also lost last week.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would take the Rams. I'm not a believer in the Bears. I think the Rams are just a better team. So we'll see. We're gonna really see. The Bears fans and people that follow the team seem to think it's a really good defense, and I'm not sure it's a really good defense. I think it's just okay. I think they have a good pass rush. I think they have Khalil Mack. I think they're a better than average defense, but I don't know if they're gonna really be able to stop the Rams.
The National Hockey League.
can we talk about hockey for a few seconds?
I'd love to. That's the only other real thing I wanted to talk about.
So, few things.
Yeah.
So you know that the save that Carey Price made on Alex Ovechkin a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the replay a million times just like me.
Yeah. Well, it was on like the TSN,
Right.
whatever they call it.
Right.
Play of the day.
1v1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then afterwards, Ovechkin goes over and, pats him on the back. Nice save, whatever.
Yeah.
So I've seen it a million times, and they have like several different angles of it as well.
Yeah.
Because these days they have like 17,000 different cameras in the arena.
It's total fluke.
What's a fluke?
The save.
Well, that's not even what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Every replay I've seen, every angle I've seen, I still haven't seen him actually make a save.
Right. But obviously the puck does hit something and go over the net, right?
Well, it might have been high, like it might have been going high.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he actually made a save because look at every single angle they show you. Like you never see the puck hitting Carey Price in any of those replays.
Right. I'm
So
gonna
I mean,
have to review it. I'm gonna go frame by frame.
the only reason I think that he actually made the save is because Ovechkin went over to him and said, nice save or whatever.
But how come you're thinking about this? It's like
Because I saw it again the other day. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see this because the first time I saw it, I don't remember him actually making a save.
I never saw it either.
And then I looked at it again, and still I can't see him making a save.
That's wild.
You would think that in this day and age they would have an angle that showed it, but no, they don't. The other thing.
So do you want to talk about current stuff in the NHL, like actual things that are happening?
Yeah. So
now?
I'm a little bit surprised. So the Canadians this year.
Canadians. There's two huge stories in the league, and you want to talk about the Canadians?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because I don't understand this team. First of all, okay, they won 2 in a row, but they won against Ottawa, so it doesn't mean anything.
But Ottawa's the team that they have to beat. That's all. That's
well,
the teams
no,
they're
I
fighting
mean
with.
they're not. I don't think the Canadians are going to make the playoffs anyway, even if they just beat Ottawa. But what I don't understand is they've in the last month they've placed all these guys on waivers. Normally the good teams place guys on waivers because they're so good that they have no room for these lousy guys. But the Canadians are not so good that they don't have room for lousy guys. So they've placed Xavier Ouellet, Nikita Sherbak, Carl Alsner, and I think there's another guy whose name I'm forgetting.
Well, they sent Victor Mete down, but he's not on waivers.
Right, and then they just got rid of Thomas Plekanec.
Yeah.
But this is not the behavior of a bad team. This is the behavior of a good team.
Well, this is the behavior of a GM that made a lot of mistakes and bad signings, and he's kind of come to terms with them and said, you know what, I screwed up. I'm not going to keep playing these guys. I'm not going to just reinforce my bad decision by more bad decisions. It's time to end that. So Alsner was a bad signing. They put him on waivers. No one claimed him. They sent him down. Mm-hmm. Victor Mete was struggling. He's 20 years old. We're not going to just keep having him struggle. We're going to send him down. Hopefully he'll develop, right? Xavier Ouellet is a nothing. He's a 12th defenseman on a normal team.
But what about Nikita Sherbak? When he was signed,
they gave up on him. Gave up on him.
He's not an old guy.
No,
he had all this promise and hope and everything.
Yeah, he was a first-round pick, and I think that they never actually gave him a chance, to be honest. Mm-hmm. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. There's all kinds of stuff you're hearing. Basically, he doesn't work hard. He doesn't even try. He's not trying to develop as a player. He thinks he's got all this talent, and he's just going to come in and dominate. And he hasn't dominated at any level since they've drafted him.
Did anyone pick him up?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
The other guy, I forgot his name, is Jacob de la Rose, who's now playing on the Red Wings.
Well, It's
Whatever.
too bad that they let him go. This is also like the story of Bergevin's career, is that he doesn't know how to manage assets. So like he has guys on his team that they just lose for nothing. De La Rose had a lot of chances. He played he played on the main team. He played on the Canadians for a lot of games, and he's never ever going to be an offensive player. Like, they drafted him in the second round. He's a big guy who can skate, but he has no skill, right? So
wasn't he on the top line for like a week last year?
Maybe.
He was the answer.
Yeah, he was. Well, I don't know about that. If he was the answer, that's why we were in trouble.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about like the actual stories that are happening in the league this week?
Go ahead.
Seattle is getting a team.
That was the worst kept secret on the planet.
No, but this is what I want to ask you. What is the team going to be called? What's the name of the team going to be?
I have
Seattle
no idea.
What?
I have no idea.
You didn't look online. You didn't try.
No. I saw all these potential names, like Seattle Reign, spelled Reign.
That's stupid.
Seattle Star Buccaneers.
Well, those are jokes. All the ones
Yeah.
with Starbucks are jokes. But like the lattes or
I don't know what they're going to be called. But does it matter? I don't know. What do you hear?
I don't know. Well, Brian Sloan, friend of the show, who lives
Yes.
in the Seattle area, said they're going to be called the Breakers.
Okay.
I'm like, that's not a bad name. I thought of you know how you have these team names that are like the Heat, or
Yeah.
the Lightning, not ending in S.
Yeah, I don't
right?
like those.
No, so what about the Seattle Grunge?
That actually would be cool. But what's their logo going to be? Like a guy playing guitar?
Eddie Vedder? I don't know.
Or Kurt Cobain?
But this is what makes our show so great, because everybody's talking about the Seattle expansion team, and all I'm thinking about is what's the name of the team going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I cared about.
What I was thinking about...
Supersonics? Would they even go there? Supersonics?
Well, no, because they're trying to get a basketball team back.
They could still have the same name, though?
I guess they could. When I heard about it,
Yeah.
my first question was not what's the name of the team going to be. My first question was, why are they waiting until 2021? That's eons from now.
I know, and they say it's because they need to do the renovations in the arena, which I get, because when you watch like you said, when you watch the games right now in Brooklyn, when the Islanders play, it's a joke.
Hold on, but Brooklyn's a brand new arena, the Barclays.
I know, but it's not. But what I'm saying is, it's not made for hockey, right? You have a car in the first 10 rows behind the glass,
right?
Because the arena is like, they basically stuck a hockey rink into arena that couldn't handle it, which I don't really get either. But so I guess they want to avoid that situation in the.
Well,
and
yes,
it's old, right? So they're going in the Key Arena, which is not a new building.
It is old. I've actually been to the Key Arena for a basketball game many years ago.
Wow.
And so and actually, it's funny you mentioned Brian Sloan, because he called me the other day, and he was telling me that the roof of the building is considered a historical landmark
Of the Key Arena?
Yes, so they can't touch the roof. They can do all the renovations they want, but they can't touch the roof.
But why the roof? Because I guess when you see it in the overhead shots, it has some significance.
I'm not sure, and
Weird.
so that's what's makes it more difficult to do the renovations when you can't touch the roof. Now, I think the real reason that they're waiting until 2021, and they're never going to say this, is because there's going to be a lockout, and they don't want the team to start before the lockout.
This is true, actually. I hadn't thought of that, but that's very plausible. That's like a possible scenario.
Yeah. So that's why. But so I don't know what they're supposed to do now for 3 years. Twiddle their thumbs. I mean, they can't draft any players.
Well, they're going to have the same expansion rules as what Vegas had.
Yeah. So they should have a decent.
Them.
They should have a decent team. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad for the people of Quebec City.
So do
they got
I.
Screwed. I mean, but it's not a surprise. Like you said, everybody's known that Seattle's getting the team, right?
Right.
Quebec's not. It's not a surprise.
I mean, they needed another team in the West to balance things out. They couldn't. They have too many teams in the East as it is.
But the thing is, so they said Gary Bettman said no more expansion. This is it. So if Quebec's not getting an expansion team, he's come out and said it. We're not. This is it for the foreseeable future.
Right.
But like what I told you, I listened to the 31 Thoughts podcast with Elliot Friedman, and he's speculating, and he knows he's really a hockey insider, that in their back pocket they have Quebec City in case Phoenix just folds.
Oh, okay. Well,
but that would screw up the alignment.
But how many times have we heard that Phoenix is leaving Phoenix and then they never left?
Since the day they became a franchise.
Right. So, like, I'm not holding my breath.
No, I'm not either. But I mean, if you're a Quebec City hockey fan, which there are many,
yeah,
maybe you're holding out hope on Phoenix, right? Which kind of sucks. That's like what we went through as Expo fans recently. Like, Tampa said that they're gonna fold. Maybe we're gonna get, like, you're rooting for a team you're rooting for another market. You're rooting for someone else's pain. If I mean, there are Phoenix fans, right? So can you imagine the pain of those fans when they lose their team,
Okay, so there's two things I want to say, and I don't let me forget. One is I've heard rumors that if Calgary doesn't get a new arena, they're going to leave Calgary.
But I don't believe that for a second. I think it's just the team kind of trying to hold one over the city.
Of course.
But I can't imagine Calgary ever leaving.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And then along those same lines, nothing to do with hockey, but I'm sure you heard the rumors in the last year or two that the Oakland A's were going to move to Montreal. Well, just about a week ago, they announced that they're building this brand new fancy baseball stadium in Oakland.
Yeah.
So if they're actually going to build that, the Oakland A's are not going to Montreal.
No, I mean, I never really understood why Oakland played in that piece of garbage stadium. Like, when they're building, like, do you see the arena that they built for the Warriors? And like there's tons of money in the Bay Area. The Bay Area is like one of the richest places in the country.
I know,
right?
and where the A's play baseball and where the Raiders used to play football,
it's like a slum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the other big news in hockey.
Yeah.
How are things in Toronto with William Nylander back?
So it's interesting because the Leafs have been having a good season.
They're having great. They're doing great.
And they've been doing it without William Nylander.
Right.
And then that's all you heard about every single day of the year up until, and even now, up until today. And
right.
So to be honest, when I didn't hear anything it was Saturday, when I didn't hear anything by like Saturday around noon, I'm like, well, it's not going to happen because it's not like you can just sign a contract in 10 seconds and it's not like making a transaction in fantasy sports.
He said he signed it 5 minutes before 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And I heard about it like a little bit after 5 o'clock, like at 5:07 is when I found out.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I mean, good for them for signing him. He's getting a lot of money in the first year and then less money in later years, which is smart for them because they have cap space this year, so they might as well do that.
But what he wanted was a contract of many years, which is what he got. He didn't want.
Yeah, but he also wanted,
contract.
I think, $8 million a year, and they wanted to give him $6 million, and they pretty much split the difference because he's getting 6.9.
Right. Okay.
I mean, average is 6.9. He's getting 10 this year, and then it gets lower next year.
Right.
They're going to have the same issue next year with Matthews and Marner.
They are going to have a huge issue. And at some point, they may have to make a decision, right? Because it's going to be hard to keep. They've always known. If they haven't known, they're stupid. So I'm assuming they're not stupid.
But
they've always known they're going to have a problem fitting all these guys under the cap, especially with Tavares also on the team.
When right after they signed him, and then they showed, because he didn't play, I think, the first 2 games after they signed him, they wanted to get him into game shape, which he still isn't.
No, he looked terrible the first game.
But his first game that he played, they showed the line combinations on the screen just before the game, and I'm looking at him like, this team is very impressive. Like you have Matthews and Nylander on one line, and you have Tavares and Marner on the second line. Like whatever, you can flip flop those two. I don't know which one's better than the other.
But it's not just
I can't think of another team that has that kind of offense.
But they also have Nazem Kadri as their third line center, who scored like 20 goals last year, right? So
right. I mean, I'm not a huge Nazem Kadri fan.
No, but as a third line center, I think he's pretty good.
As a third line center, he's fantastic. I don't think he's a top 2, top 6 forward, whatever. Yeah. I don't think he belongs on the top 2 lines. But they have incredible amount of offense.
Yeah.
And they have a very good goalie. I'm not going to say they have the best goalie in the league.
He's good.
But he's good enough. You don't have to have the Vezina winning goalie on your team to win the Stanley Cup anymore.
No, you don't. Well, good for them. I mean, my theory about holdouts. A lot of times they end badly. You hold out and then you come back and you get injured or things just don't go well. You don't fit in. There's a lot of times where these holdouts backfire. So we'll see what happens.
Actually, I don't know if you heard this. After practice yesterday,
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday. So Nylander and Kapanen were driving together, leaving practice, and they got into an accident.
Oh boy, I didn't know
Now,
that.
a very minor accident. I don't think there were any injuries, but just it's big news in this city.
It is.
Yeah.
They sending all the reporters out to the scene of the accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sure like Nylander's being stalked right now. They want to know everything he's doing, what he's eating for breakfast.
Interesting that he's wearing Ken Dryden's number 29.
Yeah, well, isn't that the number he always wore?
It is, but I mean, I don't see many players wearing that number. Yeah,
it's a goalie number.
Well, it used to be a goalie number.
Yeah.
Now goalie numbers are like, they have so many numbers on teams, it doesn't even make any sense.
So that's all I got for hockey.
Major League Baseball.
I have a lot of baseball talk, by the way. Actually, I wanted to start with baseball.
I only have one thing about baseball, and I'm sure it's one of the things that you have, but go ahead.
Well, I have a few things. First of all, if I'm a fan of the Seattle Mariners, we talked about the Seattle hockey team, or the Arizona Diamondbacks, or even the LA Angels, these fans probably feel like you and I felt in 1994 or 95 or whenever. Because the Diamondbacks basically got rid of, they traded Paul Goldschmidt and they let Patrick Corbin go for nothing.
Right.
The Mariners traded Gene Segura, Robinson Cano, Edwin Diaz, Alex Colomé in two separate trades, but still.
Yeah.
And
I don't mind that. I don't mind the Seattle trade. I don't think Cano's even good, and I don't mind that one as much.
And the LA Angels let Garrett Richards go for nothing.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's really the Goldschmidt that bothers me.
So it's like it's very clear that there are some teams that are actually trying to win and acquire players, like the New York Mets, for example.
Yeah.
And the Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
And the Boston Red Sox, like they're trying to keep their team intact. And then there are other teams that just don't care. And so what you saw last year, remember, I think Baltimore finished 50 games out of first place.
They were 50 games out at July 1st, I think.
So there's no more, mediocre teams. You have the upper echelon teams and you have the cellar dwellers, and there's nothing in between.
But the thing that bothered me, and I'm sure it's the same thing that's bothering you about what the D-backs did, is Goldschmidt wasn't a free agent now. He has one more year, and then he was going to become a free agent.
Right. Well, they have to trade him before that if they want to get something for him.
Well, the thing is, you have to make a decision. Like, do we want our team to be in contention, or are we going to be in a constant rebuild? Because they could trade him at the trade deadline, or right?
Yeah.
Or risk getting nothing for him, which is bad. I understand that's bad, but like, they're not a bad team, Arizona. They over 500.
They were a good team this year.
Yeah, they were in the hunt for the wild card all the way through.
They made the playoffs 2 year ago.
But now, what they've said to their fans is, we are not going to be good this year. So why would you even want to go? As a fan, why would you want to go?
I mean, it's when the Expos got rid of Larry Walker, Marquise Grissom, John Wetland, and
but most of those guys they got rid of when they became free agents. They just didn't get anything for them. This is like he has 1 year left. They can still play with 1 year of Paul Goldschmidt and try to do something.
The Detroit Tigers did the same thing when they traded Verlander to Houston.
Detroit Tigers have traded everybody.
They got rid of Verlander. They got rid of Scherzer. They got rid of all these guys.
The whole league is full of ex-Tigers that are all-stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, seeing all this that's going on in the off-season is just making me actually kind of happy that the Expos don't have a team, or I should say Montreal doesn't have a team.
Well, we'd be in we were in a constant rebuild, and
it would be the same thing. It would be the same thing if there was a team in Montreal now.
Well, that's how the Major League Baseball is. There's no salary cap. So, I mean, yes, there's the tax, the luxury tax, but basically the rich teams are the teams that are really good, and the other teams, to be good, need a perfect storm of prospects coming together at the same time, right?
By the way, did you ever finish that Jonah Carey book?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I didn't love it. Sorry, Jonah, but
you were so excited to meet him in Cooperstown.
I still
that
love
was the only reason you went to Cooperstown.
I still love the guy. I still think he's great. But like, what I should do is I should read the other book that he wrote, The Extra 2%, the book about the Tampa Bay Rays. I probably would enjoy that more.
Okay.
Because everything, 3/4 of what was in this book, I knew already.
But there was some stuff that you didn't know.
Yes, of course there's stuff I didn't know. But most everything in this book, I knew it all because I lived it. I lived through it.
Okay.
Right?
That doesn't make it a bad book.
No, it doesn't make it a bad book, but it's not, I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn very much.
All right.
And in fact, the ending is very painful for me. So I don't want to read about the demise of the team. It just gets me upset. Right? I did enjoy the beginning of the book where they talked about the origins of the team because there's a lot of stuff there that I didn't know.
Right.
You know, all the wheelings and dealings, how they got the team, the Jerry Park and all this stuff.
So sticking with baseball and the Expos.
Oh, the Expos.
I don't really necessarily want to give any airtime to this person whose name I'm going to mention, but I found out some stuff about him this week that surprised me. So
Bud Selig?
No.
Oh.
I'm not sure who I dislike more, Bud Selig or David Samson. But listen to this. So I just found out some stuff about him this week by accident that I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. So we know him as Jeffrey Loria's stepson.
Yes.
He's no longer Jeffrey Loria's stepson.
That's right.
I didn't know this.
I had heard about that.
That's one thing I didn't know. The second thing I didn't know is when Loria left or sold the Marlins to Derek Jeter, I believe.
Yeah, well, his group, Derek Jeter's group.
Right.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter fired David Samson.
Yeah, Samson's not part of anything now.
No, I didn't know that either.
I knew it because I heard him on a radio show, probably with Dan Le Batard, because he was often on Le Batard's show. I mean, it's a Florida-based thing. Mm-hmm. And then it was when he was able, after he was fired, he was able to talk a little more freely about things. Still didn't make him a good person.
Oh, no, he's still a schmuck.
Yeah.
But then finally, the last thing that I learned about David Samson this week that I didn't know is that he is a baseball analyst on CBS Sports HQ.
Really?
Yeah. Which I didn't even know that.
That is a crime in itself.
I'm not sure what qualifications he has to be a baseball analyst.
That's an insult to all other baseball analysts.
Yeah.
Well, he was a president of a major league team.
Right, but he was not making baseball decisions. At least I hope he wasn't.
Well, they were financial.
But he wasn't saying, should we trade this guy for that guy?
No, I don't think so.
So anyway, he's an MLB analyst on CBS Sports HQ.
That's an insult to all other baseball analysts and fans.
Anyway, I was surprised to learn all this about him. And, I'm late to the game because this is all old news, but I was just very surprised to hear all this.
Cool.
The reason I found out is because there's a story that came out a few days ago where Samson was saying, or actually said, that the general manager of the San Diego Padres shouldn't be allowed in Major League Baseball. Now, forget for a minute whatever the general manager of the San Diego Padres did.
Yeah.
He basically, apparently, he had two different medical reports on certain players and would give the incorrect medical report to teams that were interested in acquiring that player.
Right.
Which is a terrible thing to do. However, I think David Samson is the last person that should be saying that person shouldn't be allowed in Major League Baseball because he should never have been allowed in Major League Baseball.
I mean, what they did to the franchise in Florida, I mean,
never
mind. Forget about Montreal. Put Montreal aside. Just what they did in Florida. So before we sign off, remember you can listen and subscribe to new and archived episodes of the Skip and Josh podcast wherever you listen to podcasts: Apple, Stitcher, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify. And if you listen through Apple, please leave us a review. You can send us an email at skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at skipandjosh, and you can like and follow our Facebook page. And as always, skipandjosh.com has all the links to subscribe to everything.
We leave you with this.
I don't know if you know this. There's an actress in the movie called Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes, I saw the movie. Fantastic.
I haven't seen the movie, but her real name, not the name in the movie, her real name is Awkwafina.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Yeah, she's hysterical.
That's an interesting name for a human.
Yes.
Because it's the name of a water.
Well, maybe she had the name first, maybe. Don't you think? She's like 20-something years old.
Okay.
That's it? That's all you got?
I got a couple other things.
This is like a totally random thing.
When I heard that there was someone named Aquafina, it startled me. And speaking of actresses,
Yeah.
I was watching a hockey game the other day, and at the Kings game, there was an Alicia Cuthbert sighting. I haven't seen her in a long time.
I don't know what she's up to these days. Most of her shows, she was on a Netflix show called The Ranch. That was the last thing I've seen her done. So.
And finally, the last thing I wanted to mention is that today at 5:30 on TSN, you can watch Duke versus Yale.
Versus Yale, the Yaleys.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be. What's the spread?
I don't know. I can find out.
It's probably big. So in the category of recommendations, I have a podcast that I'm loving. It's called Planet Money. It's put out by NPR, National Public Radio.
Mm-hmm. They're the ones that do Serial, no?
Yeah, no, loosely affiliated, yes. It's really fantastic. It's 20 to 30-minute episodes, and they talk about something related to money, loosely related to the money, to economy. So, for example, there was an episode about why the prices of food at sports stadiums and arenas are so expensive. How come why the cheap vodka and the most expensive vodka are actually the same thing. So if you're paying more for expensive vodka, you're getting scammed. And also an episode about like this company, this website that publishes people's mugshots after they get arrested and basically extorts money from them to take them down. You got to listen to it. There's a million great episodes and it's so well done, and I'm loving every episode that I listen to. All right, so I'll talk to you
next week.
Okay. We're going to get back on schedule.
Yeah.
And then in a few weeks, we're going to have our year-end extravaganza.
I look forward to that. It's one of my favorite episodes of the year.
I've already have my notes for all the possible awards.
You know why I like that episode? Because I get to wear a microphone and I don't have to actually record myself and send you a file.
It's going to be brilliant. I can't wait to record for you.
All right.
All right, talk to you next week.
Okay, bye.